your buffer. Rattle or not to rattle? What's going on, guys? G2 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a short video on your buffers. I've actually had comments, and I'm seeing on threads too, that people are putting things inside of their buffer to stop the rattle. Some people say the rattle is bad. Some people say that it's absolutely necessary. So what's true? Why does your buffer rattle? Is it a mistake, or was it designed that way? Long story short, it was designed that way, and the rattle has a reason. There's a reason to the rattle. Now, if you watch my other videos, especially on the overgassed, undergassed system, you will remember that I refer to something called bolt bounce. Essentially, is when the bolt is coming into battery, it's coming at such a force, it will actually go into battery and pop back out and then kind of sit there. So it won't be sitting fully inside of the chamber because that bolt is moving so fast. It doesn't have a chance for those lugs to engage, the cam pin to turn, and everything to get nice and tight inside the chamber. So why does this happen? I want you guys to think about when you're angry and you slam doors, right? If you slam a door too hard, that door will close and bounce back open, right? It doesn't have enough time at the closed position for the latch to engage and the door to close. It's moving so fast, the latch does not have a chance to come out and lock the door. Therefore, the door hits the jamb and bounces back out. This is exactly what's happening with bolt bounce. So, why does the buffer matter? The buffer is one cohesive unit with your bolt carrier group or your system. The buffer spring, and the bolt carrier group all work together to ensure that that bolt can go into the chamber and lock, right? So when you are putting something in here, whether it's a cotton ball, a towel, or something to stop this rattle, what you're doing is you're basically removing that extra punch that you're going to get from those weights inside of there, moving forward. Yeah, I was right the first time. Moving forward, giving you that additional little pop to keep your door closed. So think of it like this. We're slamming the door again. So instead of just slamming the door, we're going to slam the door, and then we're going to follow up with something to keep it shut, right? That way, the door doesn't have a chance to bounce back out. That little additional weight that's coming with this is going to keep that door shut. It's going to keep that bolt from bouncing out of the chamber. Does that make sense? So this is why rattle is a good thing. It's designed for a purpose. So if you do not have the rattle, if you've gone and filled this gap in, essentially what you're doing is you're just slamming the door. There's nothing following behind it to give it that little extra to keep the door closed. So you will see typically in full buffers that you will come across, now this is not all the time, you will come across more issues or malfunctions because that bolt is going to be bouncing back out. Now, the good thing is, when Eugene Stoner designed the AR-15 platform, it's very hard for the AR-15 to ignite or to shoot off a round when the bolt is out of battery. And that's because the bolt carrier group itself, the hammer cannot hit the firing pin. That's the way it was designed. So even if your bolt was not fully seated, and you've seen this when you have a failure to fire, you click, right? Hammer goes up, hits the back of the bolt carrier group, therefore not firing or allowing that firing pin to hit the primer and start that reaction for the round. So in terms of safety, it's okay, but you're going to see that you're going to have a lot of failure to fires just because that bolt is bouncing out. Now, there are buffers out there that don't have rattle, okay? That doesn't mean that it's not in there. They have a alternative to the tungsten weights, the individual tungsten weights, or maybe have one solid tungsten weight in there, where they use powder. Now the powder, although you're not going to hear it, right, because it's a powdered form, the weight is going to be the same, but that space, that gap that's in here is still going to be there, which means that when the powder is going back, it's going to be still moving forward to give you that extra pop to seat and chamber and fully allow those bolt lugs to engage with your chamber. So rattle, guys. Rattle is a good thing. Don't put stuff in there to change it. You're going to find that you're going to have issues, especially with your AR-15. Now we're going to go into like a 9mm blowback where the bolts don't technically lock into the chamber. That is totally okay. And you'll see that most 9mm bolts that use that blowback design don't have rattle because you don't need that extra pump to lock the bolt in place. So if you're running an AR-9 or a 45 or something that has a blowback design, you're going to be fine. You can go with a full seated buffer. Sometimes you need to add that little extra weight in there to allow it to cycle properly, but you shouldn't have any issues with that. But long story short, keep the rattle. Until next time, make sure that you're practicing safe weapons handling at all times and treating every weapon as if it was loaded. God bless America. G2 out.